Welcome to solverfy.
So the essence that this question is trying to ask is, can we prove that we can choose any two numbers of these three that the product of it is non-negative? So to prove that it's non-negative, we have to prove that the product is less than or equal to 0. So the first case that would prove is the equal to 0 condition. So this equal to 0 condition is very easy to prove. So what we'll do is we can say without loss of generality, assume that a is equal to 0. So if a is equal to 0, then a times by b is equal to 0, and a times by c is equal to 0. So then the condition is satisfied. So we can write this without loss of generality is because suppose that a is not 0. Well then, if b is 0, we just replace the labels here. If c is 0, then we replace the zeros here. So what this assumption assumes is that of one of these three, one of them is 0. Okay? So then we now assume that a is not equal to 0, b is not equal to 0, and c is not equal to 0. So then how do we prove in this case? Well, if they're not equal to 0, then a can either be positive or negative, b can be positive or negative, and c can be positive or negative. Now, of these three numbers then, at least two of them must have the same sign. Because if we think about it, what are the possibilities that can happen? A, B, and C. So they can either be positive, positive, or positive. They could either be negative, positive, positive. They could be positive, negative, negative, or negative, 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 and so on, so on, so on. But in each of these cases, we have at least two that always have the same signs. In this case, all of them have the same sign. In this case, all of them have, or two of these have the same sign. In this case, two of these have the same signs, and in this case, all of them have the same signs. Now, for what you do then is you'll take the two numbers with the same signs and you multiply them together. So in this case, if we take, well, let's say a times by c, it'll be a positive number times by a positive number, giving you a positive number. In this case, it'll be the same thing. We just relabel a with b. So for this case, it will be b times by c is equal to negative times by negative. So negative times negative gives you a positive. So the same thing for here. Instead of b, you can choose a, b, or c. It doesn't really matter. So yes, doesn't really matter what these numbers are because at least two of them will have the same signs. You just multiply the two that have the same signs, and you'll get either greater than 0, or you can get equals to 0 as required.